Okay. Chapter 27. Kagan. Kagan guided them through the portal from outside Hefe's castle to the area depicted in the painting without difficulty. The location remained largely unchanged. A clearing with a small lake in the foothills, surrounded by a scattering of trees thickening to a forest. Thin mist hovered near the ground, while afternoon sunlight filtered through the trees and faint bird calls echoed. Well, let's hit that multi-stream button. There we go. Filtered through the trees, and faint bird calls echoed. Their mounts snorted and tossed their heads, manes flying, and came to a halt near the edge of the lake opposite the forest. Tessa stopped next to him as they quickly scrutinized the area. Even Dimphna remained silent. Shifting in his saddle, Kagan looked around. Average enough scenery for hill country inlands. Shimmering trees topped with a full head of leaves in every shade imaginable, leading a riot of color. Lending is the word I'm looking for. Let's see, every shade. Ahem. Oh, what happened to my... What happened to my canvas? Jeez Louise. There. Okay, it just disappeared. Cool. Vertical canvas only, please. Okay. Dude, I'm gonna get mad at it. There. Let's see if that even looks right. Good googly moogly. Tick-a-talk. Tick-a-talk. And search me own name. Hey, that's me. And it looks right. Does it sound right? Helps if you take the Bluetooth off. Hey, that's me. And it looks right. Does it sound right? Okay, it's fine. Onward. Okay. Imaginable, lending a riot of color. It reminded him of autumn in the northern areas of the mundane world, with the exception of blue, as well as green to yellow, and how the leaves and bark glinted in the sunlight. As for the lofty tree in question, pale foliage crowned its massive trunk. It grew in the center of the lake, its knees spreading like a bald cypress, creating an island of sorts. Happiness exploded from Rin, the likes he'd never seen before. Oops, that's not the line, dude. Okay, just gotta bring that down. Bring that over here, and we are going to take it from there. Happiness exploded from Rin, the likes he'd never felt. He patted his friend. You like this place? If Rin could do backflips, Kagan felt the saber might leap from his scabbard and perform feats of acrobatics. Okay. Kagan felt the saber might leap from his scabbard and perform feats of acrobatics? Okay. Kagan felt the saber might leap from his scabbard and perform feats of acrobatics. Looks like the painting, Tessa said. Indeed. So, what are we missing? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know. Rin likes this place, he said, fingers drumming on Rin's scabbard. Well, that counts for something, right? He gave her a thin smile. Indeed. Yet, I felt nothing unusual. Do you sense anything? Tessa closed her eyes, her chest rising and falling with an even pace, while Kagan waited. The horses shifted. Leather creaked. She opened her eyes. Anything? Maybe, she shrugged. It's difficult to know. Why? You mean besides the fact I have no idea what I'm doing with magic? He snorted. Yes, besides that. I feel a strange pressure. She placed her palm to her sternum. Right here. Are you in pain? Biting her lower lip, she frowned a bit. No, it feels heavy, I guess? Like the air is... I guess, like the air is thicker here. You didn't feel it before? No, it started now. I've never felt anything like it. Humming his assent, he nodded toward the tree line, tisked, and pulled Dartmoor. Tisked, and pulled Dartmoor. Oh my god, Dartmoor. It's not a hard name! Tisked, and pulled, and I didn't hit record. And pulled Fudge. And pulled Dartmoor's reins toward it. Tessa followed in his tracks. Kagan? Yes, he said over his shoulder. What if we don't find anything here? Are you worried? Aren't you? Swaying with Dartmoor's gentle walk, reins loosely held in his right hand, he thought for a moment. Not apprehensive. Cautious. Hopeful. At least your portal worked. As if you truly doubted. They rode near the shore of the lake, circling it, their horses' hooves digging shallow divots in the soft dirt and grass. What up, Oak? What it do? Why aren't you worried? Hearing the fear in her voice, he slowed Dartmoor, allowing Dominia to pull even as they continued forward. I suppose it's because I'm Fae. So? Well, being Fae means I've lived in the inlands my entire life. I've lived with the legacy of Danu. Sweeping his gaze about, he added, everything you see, Danu created for the Fae nearly 2,000 years ago. She separated the Fae from the mortal world because she loved us, she cared for us, and she protected us from harm. But if Danu made this land and chose Lauren to be Lady of the Verge, doesn't that mean she chose you? Why don't you have a connection with Danu like Lauren? Blah, 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 blah. Why don't you have a connection to Danu like Lauren, and I guess me too? No, I inherited the title. Even the ceremony was part of my inheritance. Yes, it granted me connection to the Verge and made me guardian through Danu, but I was never granted a true connection to her. Danu never, he paused, choosing his words, reached out to me as she seems to do for you and your sister. Doesn't seem fair. Perhaps. He twisted the reins. My great-great-grandfather, the first guardian, possessed a direct connection to Danu. Why the difference? Oh, well, she granted the original guardianship of the Verge to him when he was younger than me. He wrote off Danu often, and he wrote of Danu often in his journals. And that was 2,000 years ago? Nearly. He guided his horse around the lake, following its shore. By your calendar, he received the guardianship in I don't know numbers. This is a big number, get ready for it. What's up, Team Walk Walk? Okay, by your calendar, he received the guardianship in 221 AD. That's the number that stumped me. So, oops, that's the wrong line. He watched Tessa's eyes widen and her mouth drop open, then snap shut. The differences between them growing wider. So, you're a fourth-generation guardian in your family? I was. He gave her a gentle smile. Until Lauren. She shifted her reins to her other hand and rubbed the first on her thigh. 4 generations in about 1,800 years. Quite a bit more than mortals. A lot to take in. That was backwards. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try it again. 4 generations in about 1,800 years. Quite a bit more than mortals. A lot to take in. Take as long as needed. And you're okay with this? Pulling his reins, he halted his horse at the opposite shore from where they started. Hey, I don't know what this word is. B-I-V-O-U-A-C? Bivouac! Stand by. Stand by, because I'm going to figure it out. Let's go here. Let's go here. Bivouac. 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 All right, easy enough. What's up, Summer? Bivouac. We should bivouac here. We should bivouac here. There's enough tree cover for protection, and we can build a simple camp. Kagan? She interrupted him, stopping her horse next to his. Your family protected this land for hundreds of years. You grew up and lived in a castle with your family's name. You were a lord. And now? Now it passes to your sister. And that's it. Yes, of course, he stated bluntly, while her expression grew in disbelief. What puzzles you? How can you be so nonchalant about it? I mean, when I first came here, you practically cut me in half to protect this place, and now you hand it over without a fuss? What changed? He supposed he should feel angry being usurped from his familial role, losing his inheritance, ownership of his lands, and basically everything making him a Dawnmal other than name. Yet, he didn't. Studying the young woman beside him, he considered all she'd lost and suffered. Her parents, her foster father, her world. She should be okay. She suffered as great as he, likely more. Could he be angry at her or Lauren for a choice made by Danu? If Danu selected his ancestor as the first guardian, who watched over the Verge successfully for many years, then her choosing Lauren must be honored. It's simple, really. Danu willed it. Seems too simple. Do you need more? Don't you? No. Tessa looked at him askew, as if he'd spoken gibberish. Perhaps he had to her. However, he knew the will of Danu without a direct connection to her. He owed his entire existence to Danu. His family made sure he knew his origins. Once they found the Temple of Danu, then Tessa would believe too. That's why you were willing to marry Lauren without knowing her. I was, though I did not wish to marry a child. It's... child. It's... He shuddered. Yeah, she grimaced. That's why I stopped it. Giving her a sincere smile, he replied, I understand. Do you understand why I couldn't? I do now. I'd want to protect all of this too, she said with a head tilt toward the surrounding landscape. Dimphna stuck her head out from Tessa's locks of hair and tisked at them both. All you do is talk, talk, talk. I'm trying to sleep. Oh, Dimphna. With a fierce buzz, she flew up into the tree next to the horses and found a broad branch to sit upon, where she slumped against the trunk and tucked herself in. Kagan arched his brows as Tessa did. Nope. Kagan arched his brows, as did Tessa. Rueful smiles exchanged. They shook their heads. I bet she's still recovering, Tessa said. Agreed. Kagan ignored the temperamental self, who so obviously hated him. Her interruptions frustrated and irritated him. However, he no longer hated her. To his chagrin, he'd forgotten about her locked in his dungeon and thanked Danu. Man! To his chagrin, he'd forgotten about her locked in his dungeon and thanked Danu. McClear didn't act. Bigger! To his chagrin, he'd forgotten about her locked in his dungeon and thanked Danu. McClear didn't execute her and Lauren. Yeah! This is the hardest sentence I've ever read. To his chagrin, he'd forgotten about her locked in his dungeon and thanked Danu. McClear didn't execute her, and Lauren released her because... He glanced at Tessa with a grimace. Dismounting, he led Dartmoor to the edge of the water and allowed him to drink his fill, motioning to Tessa to do the same for Dominia. Afterwards, they hitched the horses to a tree at the edge of the shore where they could reach plenty of fresh grass. Kagan and Tessa unsaddled their horses and removed the saddlebags to unpack their gear. But before they set up camp, they swiftly brushed both horses down and made sure they settled. After a short time, they cleared a small area of debris and laid their bedrolls out with their saddlebags bulging with supplies. Tessa dug through them and finally turned to Kagan. No tent? We don't need one. She looked at the dusky sky. Doesn't it rain here? With a laugh, he squatted next to her. It rains. Not like you're used to, however. Facing him, she kneeled. How does it rain? Oh no, he shook his head. I think I'll let you discover that one for yourself. Whatever. Why not a tent? I'll be creating a warding shield. Acts much like a tent for us. Keeps us protected with the advantage of keeping predators out. Sounds good. And he withdrew a white, smoky glass. And he withdrew a white, smoky glass globe, slightly larger in diameter than his palm, from one of the bags. I brought this. You sound like I should be impressed by a glass ball. Glass ball. He chucked his tongue. It's a don't know how to say it, Cruine. C-R-U-I-N-E is the words we're looking for. Cruine. Let's see what the overlords say. Cruin. It's a Cruin. Duh. It's a Cruin. It can be spelled to give cold light, or warm light. It looks like those floating lights at the castles. It is. Cool. It's a basic spell, simple enough for you at this stage. Show me. Hold it in your palm as I'm doing now. Think about which light you want, cold or warm, and think about how cold or how warm. Then envision the glyph Seer Call, which he drew in the sand. A circle with a short vertical line in the center. And say either Solas Teth or Solas Foir. Teth is for warmth and Foir is for cold. He placed the globe into her accepting hand. You did all of it. Why didn't it work? Focus, control, and intention are the key to activating spells. Fey magic is a tool like any other. Without the proper application of all three, the tool is useless and potentially harmful. During my explanation, I did not apply intention, so my magic did not activate the globe. It recognized the lack. Tessa balanced the globe in her hand, drawing it close to her face, eyes squinting. Magic sounds like a living thing. Complicated. It can be. Remember, it is created from us. It is a part of us, and we are a part of it. Why wouldn't it behave like us? I suppose. She rolled the globe from one hand to the other. So, the glyph, I don't have to draw it. Correct. Although it is good practice to draw glyphs to memorize them. I'm gonna sneeze. Don't do it. A glyph is specific to the spell's use. The image must be with a T, dude. The image must be exact in your mind, as well as your intention and focus before you wield control. What exactly do you want your magic to manifest? Okay, I can do this. Kagan watched her roll the globe back and forth until she finally settled it on her right palm, outstretched between them. Eyes narrowed, expression firm, she stared at the croon for several minutes. Croon? Cruin. Oops. She stared at the Cruin for several minutes, bottom lip pinched between her teeth. Her magic swirled and enveloped them, tugging at his magic and overwhelming him with the zing of her fresh spice. A jolt of lust hit him, followed by the soothing spread of affection, and he shifted his stance away from her to avoid crushing into her. perfection, and he shifted his stance away from her to avoid crushing her to him. This woman, she makes me lose all sense. Finally, she spoke. Solus Teth. Nothing happened. Tessa frowned and exhaled a frustrated grunt. Patience, Tessa. Sometimes I can do this. She continued staring, her respirations deepening. Solar Teth. Nothing. Kagan kept silent as he observed, her focus increasing. His entire body tightened, intent. Oh, let's say the whole words. His entire body tightened and tensed as her magic swirled. If she continued to struggle, he'd divert her with a different task to avoid a loss of control and decorum. In his peripheral vision, he saw Dimphna watching from the branch, unusually silent. Even her wings remained still. Solus Teth! Light and heat exploded from the globe. Holy shit! It fell from Tessa's hand to extinguish in the grass. I did it! I knew you could. I told you, Dimphna said, sounding smug. Kagan and Tess both looked up. Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze. Please. Yeah. Ugh. Lock it. Okay, sounding smug. Kagan and Tessa both looked up. I knew you were no ordinary mortal. Dimphna flew down, landing a few feet away. Did you now? Kagan asked. Of course, the sylph puffed out her chest. As soon as I met her, I smelled it on her. She reeks of elemental magic. I stink? Dimphna patted her thigh. It's a good thing. Fae kill for that kind of power. Kagan groaned and ran his hand over his face. Dimphna, you're not helping. Kill? Tessa repeated. I stink of magic, and Fae... Oh my god, we'll try it again. I stink of magic, and Fae want to kill me? No, Tessa, she's exaggerating. I'm really not. Kagan? Tessa's voice wavered as she backed away from him until the globe... I missed the whole word. Tessa's voice wavered as she backed away from him and the unlit globe on the ground between them. I've seen it before whenever a Fae gets too strong. Oh, wrong character. I've seen it before. Whenever a Fae gets too strong, they... Dimphna, please leave. Kagan raised his voice to near shouting to stop the sylph's blabbering. Dimphna squeaked in alarm and flew back to her roost. Not my fault you didn't warn her. Tessa continued to back away from him, putting distance between her and their small camp. He stood and reached out. Tessa, wait, he said in a gentler tone. Is this what you were holding back? What you didn't want to tell me? Kagan opened his mouth to answer, hesitating. Kagan opened his mouth to answer, hesitating. Rin vibrated at his side. Ugh. Rin vibrated at his side. He'd never met a Nexus personified. There'd only been one. His great-great-great-grandfather, whose natural life ended sooner than expected by several hundred years. According to the records, he collapsed without warning and the surgeons of the time attested he bore the marks of magic strain, but no one knew for certain. It's not what you think. Then what is it? Shwabam! That's the end of chapter 27. This book is cooking. Unfortunately, I have to go to my other job. It's quite busy at the moment. Quite busy. But I'm going to keep live streaming this daily. And I hope y'all join me, because we having a good time. Chapter 20... Oh, that's the wrong way. Chapter 28. We are going to be locked and loaded, same time, same place, tomorrow. See you guys a little later.